Round 4. We have Bjorn playing 8cast. Top monitors, top cast, Kappa Cannoneer. You either love the deck or you hate the deck, but it's definitely a deck in the format and something that you should always be aware of. On the right hand, we have Erick playing Eldrazi Stompy, a deck that has kind of fallen off over the years, but they're still Eldrazi. They're still very much present. They're big. They're squiddy. And yeah, I have no idea how this matchup is. I gotta confess. I would imagine that Kappa Cannoneer is a card that can very fast get is completely out of control. Like the one advantage that Eldrazi have is that they're bigger, and well, when you have a Kappa Cannon here that just immediately becomes a 5/5 or a 6/6 or 7, it just keeps going. That kind of becomes a problem real fast. Also, no really big Eldrazi from Erick here. Of course, this is more of a Stompy list instead of a Cloud Post list, so Whatnot Seers are going to be very much the norm here. Not so much a Nulamog or something like that. But could potentially have some fast draws. Maybe try and get to a position where Bjorn is kind of struggling for board control. We'll have to see how this match goes. Relatively slow start on the side of Bjorn here. Erick coming down with a Reality Smasher is going to get forced real fast. Force being pretty much the only answer that a deck like Bjorn's has in his matchup. Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, you can go bigger, but that's not really an option right now. That Meta Reshaper is going to resolve. Not really the scariest thing in the world. Also, not a lot of artifacts, so those constructs not really that scary yet. Although, if Bjorn decides, I think he can make 2/4/4s. I was going to make the first one right now, it seems. Probably for the Infinity, I would imagine. He holding a Thoughtcast? I couldn't quite see. Yeah, interesting. I wonder why he did it this way. Because this telegraphs that he has no other interaction. Whatnot's here coming down is going to exile something. Bit of a lighting issue. Apologies about that. Last card in hand is a snow-covered island. City of Traders coming down for Erick is going to cast an Endless One. 6/6 Endless One, a really big one. I mean, it's an Endless One. It's not a really big one, but looks like Emery was the draw for the turn. Going to make another token. That's 4 artifacts, so he has 2/4/4s now. And of course, with the artifact off, the Saga is going to make 2/5/5s. Which doesn't block everything, but it blocks a lot. You could double block the endless one if you really wanted to. I don't think you need to. You could go for a Shadow Spear, play your island. It's 2 mana, equip the Shadow Spear. That's 6/6. That would trade with the endless one. You could also opt into just casting the Emery here. Oh, there goes the deck box. And passes the turn. Am I misremembering Shadow Spear? It's 2 to equip, right? Oh. Let's see, Shadow Spear. Yeah, equip 2, so doesn't equip the Shadow Spear. Doesn't play Emery. Was it Emery? I thought it was Emery, right? Maybe I was wrong in that? I was convinced that that was an Emery, but maybe not. I was like, see, the sign of was to draw. That definitely wasn't the card in hand. Card in hand was much darker. So, despite having a few constructs, I think Eric is still in a pretty okay position here. Oh, let's get some life totals. There's plenty of mana. Can pretty much cast whatever he draws. Like for 6, but there's still a Shadow Spear, so I don't know how efficient that is. Ooh, Dismember. Dismember for Eric here. Yeah, no, that's a great attack then. That just straight up shrinks the construct, so you nerf the lifelink along with just losing that construct. So does cost you a bit of life. Does give 2 life to Bjorn, but I think that is an okay trade-off. It does help you kind of try and push through. Like, despite having a bunch of creatures, I do think that there is a definite clock on Eric here. Not necessarily in a bad spot yet, but definitely under pressure. Oh, the card was Sigh. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's kind of a problem for Eric, because that's going to buy Bjorn a lot of time here. A lot of free blockers, as well as just growing the construct. We still have the Shadow Spear on the field, so yeah, this is definitely a bit of a problem here. Ancient Tomb, tapping for 2, gonna equip the Shadow Spear. Currently 7 artifacts on the field. So that is an 8/8 construct. As well as a 1/1 Thopter with flying. And of course, Psy still on the field. There we go. Another Thought here, not the greatest value in the world, but it is another attacker. And now I think Eric is in a world of trouble. Now you've basically lost all pressure to try and punch through. Retrofitter Foundry, I think that pretty much seals the deal here. Because now those 1/1 flyers are gonna turn into 4/4 constructs really fast. You got just a 4/4 factory going. Plenty of mana to untap and then do it again, so pretty much any artifact that Bjorn draws at this point is just a 4/4. And I think that a deck like Eldrazi Stompy cannot beat that. Reality Smasher definitely helps, but I think it's too little too late. Reality Smasher of Trample, but this is as that construct is getting ever bigger. Is there anything in Eric's deck that can get him out of this? Walking Ballista would help. I think that's also a bit on the late side here. And other than that, no, I don't see anything in the main that would actually help here. Eric going to 14. Does he have anything in his side against this? Yeah, he does have. Eric does have 2 Plague Engineers, which I would imagine are pretty decent here. Not only killing the Thopters, but also being a Death Toucher for any large constructs, or maybe a Kappa Cannoneer. The Plague Engineer definitely a good card. Ratchet Bomb might be a good card as well, just to clear the board of tokens. I could definitely see that. And Eric is playing 2 copies of Sorcerer's Spyglass in the side, which could turn off Ursa's Saga, or maybe an Emry or a Retrofit Foundry if that comes up. So definitely some sideboard options here for Eric. Not a lot in the main though. Definitely being beaten at his own game, as it were. Stompy deck getting stomped right now. As just more and more Thopters are coming into play. Coming 4/4 constructs. More artifacts means bigger construct with the Shadow Spear on it. Just a single combat step. Just put Bjorn back at 20 at this point, I think. And Bjorn just kind of content slow rolling this. Now from Bjorn's sideboard, I would imagine seeing some dismembers. Definitely, since these are the medium Eldrazi, not the large ones, just the ones that are in dismember range. Definitely something I could expect seeing come in. Like maybe a Pithing Needle, turning off Eye of Ugin, or maybe a Walking Ballista, but other than that, I don't think Bjorn needs to sideboard that much, but he does have a few options, so always nice to have. There comes the Kappa Cannoneer. And this card just... Like, I know Bjorn is already winning at this point, but the Kappa Cannoneer can just completely take over a game once it comes down. Just a really big threat already, like in its own regard. It's really easy to just put a 1/1 counter on it. But then it's also like almost impossible to get rid of thanks to Ward 4. Especially since you can put it down before most players even have 4 lands or 4 mana sources or whatever. Not every deck, but a lot of decks just can't even pay for the ward, let alone ward plus whatever spell they're using to remove it. And then it becomes unblockable. Okay. Yeah, this card has a lot of text. I have no idea what design was thinking with this card. Because I cannot think of a format where this card is legal where it's somehow fair. Not even Commander. Like, even Commander can probably abuse this to a pretty high degree. But yeah, Eric realizing that there's no way he's punching through that, and we are going to game 2. Like, a couple of years ago, it would have been crazy to think that any deck would ever come to be that would make Eldrazi of all decks look fair. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, to be fair, if there ever was going to be a deck, it would probably involve artifacts, right? Let's be honest. But yeah, to think that there's a deck these days that can just make Eldrazi look fair, and it's somehow not this busted, unbeatable deck is crazy when you think about it. Just go back like 5-6 years and it's unthinkable. But here we are. That is progress. So we have a fast mimic for Eric here. And then not so much. Chalice on 0 is a nice thing to have for sure. Gonna turn off all those 0-mana artifacts out of Bjorn. Ooh. Dismember. That's a lot of damage. But it does get rid of the Mimic, and if you're scared of like a Reality Smasher coming down next turn, then yeah, that's absolutely justified. Get rid of it now. And he does have the mana for it. But that is not a Reality Smasher. That is an Elfish Spirit Guide. So that hand was... It wasn't mulligan to 6, I should add. It was capped on Chalice, Mimic, Spirit Guide? Just hoping to draw anything? Cool. Oh no, maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe this actually ends up mattering. That is another 3 life for a 7/7 endless one. Okay, yeah, maybe we somehow end up with this actually working. Retrofitter Foundry gonna make a servo, but at this point, like you're paying so much life for it. More ancient tombs. I think there's a third one hidden in the light there. Yeah. I think this is a very fast game 2 when we're going to game 3. What an incredible keep though by Eric. Jeez. Okay, there was not another ancient tomb. But still, there's 2 ancient tombs and we have a servo blocking the endless one. He's probably going to 5 here. That's yeah, not easy coming back from that. That's for sure. Bjorn going to 3. If that the Elfish Spirit Guide connects, then he's at 1, then he suddenly has no lands. But he is going to make a 4/4, I guess. Yeah, takes the 2 from the Spirit Guide. And yeah, no, Bjorn knows this game is pretty much done. Fast game 2, maybe a fast game 3 as well. We have Bjorn on a mulligan to 6 and Eric on a mulligan to 5. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Look like Bjorn already starting us off with Seed, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Opal into an Emry. Gonna mill 4 cards. Jesus, this lighting. Okay, maybe we have a moment where the sun kind of turns away for a second and we can actually look, but uh, this looks like a pretty fast start, I gotta say. Sorceress Spyglass being revealed on the side of Eric here. You're gonna draw a card off the bubble. Spyglass coming down. And Spyglass gonna name the Emry. Yeah, this is kind of rough with the lighting. Even the player is now complaining about the lighting. Players trying to move the table. Maybe try and fix the light a little. Okay, we can see the graveyard now. Looks like you have a Kappa Cannoneer, a Thoughtcast, a Shadow Spear, another Cannoneer it looks like, and then the bauble we saw earlier. So 2 Cannoneers and a Shadow Spear off the Emry. The good thing that Spyglass is there, because that would have been a really fast game otherwise. Like, I could see Capaneer coming down, like, in a turn or two. That thing is really scary. Ancient Tomb coming down. Floating 1 mana is going to Petty Theft the Spyglass. Petty Theft was a sideboard card by Bjorn that I didn't think he was going to bring in, but it kind of makes sense. You know, seeing how the Chalice kind of messed him up last game. 1 floating mana off the Ancient Tomb is going to allow him to cast the Shadow Spear from the graveyard. There's another artifact on the field. Now we have the 5 mana. I think we are 1 artifact short of just putting a Cannoneer into play next turn. But Emry does come down again. And the hand looks like a snow-covered island and a 3rd Cannoneer. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that means that the Cannoneer's coming down next turn. Wow, 3 Cannoneers. Yeah, that's them's tough beats. That's gonna make this game really hard. And then depending on what Bjorn draws here, we could maybe see like a Shadow Spear being equipped as well. Maybe a 0 mana artifact comes into play, and we have a 5/5 Cannoneer. I think Eric is in trouble. Looks like Spyglass is on Emry once more. I think that is probably for the best. Pithing Needle is the draw for the turn. Yeah, Pithing Needle can be played. Because that is, theoretically speaking, mana neutral here. Thanks to the improvise on the Cannoneer. I think needle comes down. It's going to name Walking Ballista. Gonna take 2 damage. Kappa Cannoneer coming down. And Erick looks like he missed a land drop. That's kind of rough. But he was on a mulligan to 5. I think he just kept the hand on the spyglass, just hoping to draw another land. I think in his situation I would have done the same thing. But yeah, that Cannoneer is here to play, and there's nothing that Erick's gonna do at this point, and calls the GGs.